we're jumping into the grand finals. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is time to get your gamba going. It is time for predictions. If you're in the chat, best of luck. Whew. As this is going to be a full best of 5. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Crimson Court, we have the South Korean Terran player, the blue Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic. While nursing two newborns at the same time in each hand. It was crazy. Oh my god. As we have our initial probe scatter across the map. Again, we're loading into Crimson Court for the first time tonight. Do appreciate it. Experiencing some of these other maps that we weren't able to today. Probe is zoned away. ByuN opening up double gas. Double gas opening here out of ByuN, going for a faster factory. Again, this can lead into earlier drop play, can lead into tank Banshee again. ByuN will have options with how he wants to open this up. And likewise, Classic gets eyes on everything, being as annoying as possible, tasing away at the SEVs. And just being, a nuisance here to ByuN. Up! Before pulling away. Behind this, Gate Cyber expands, standard opener out of Classic. Everything looking as it should. And there's that factory from ByuN. We'll see if Classic can hide and keep this probe safe from the Reaper. We see Alpha and the Protoss players like hiding their probe here towards the left-hand side in the mineral line, over towards the third base. Instead, Classic just racing back home. And ByuN is on the hunt. He's looking for that probe. Classic will make it back. Let's go. Does make it back. Classic, checking the standard hiding spots, as we mentioned. Here at the natural, here at the third base mineral line. The Classic did make it home and is opening up Stargate. I do appreciate a little bit more kind of variety here in terms of builds. When it came to Ordinary, we saw a Robo opener in game 1, we saw a Twilight Council Blink opener in game number 2. Here from Classic, Stargate into Phoenix. Let's go. So we get to see all of the Protoss PvT openers. I'm assuming it's going to be Phoenix. I mean, technically it could be Oracles, true. Could be an Oracle-based opener. Into Blink. But Classic has been one to embrace Phoenixes more often than not in this matchup. And there it is, the first Phoenix is on the way. Well, Classic trying to hunt down the Reaper. The Jukes though! ByuN, calm down! Does hug the edge of the map there, able to barely get away. Classic looking for the Reaper, will not find it. ByuN does rotate around. Dipping between the bases, going for the scout, and we'll get eyes on the Phoenix. So even though the Reaper falls, ByuN gets a full scout of the main base and is fully aware of the Stargate opener. So nice scout there by ByuN. Behind this, getting to his 1-1-1. Cyclone production has begun for anti-air to make sure he has enough to contend against those Phoenixes. ByuN even being a little bit proactive here, trying to catch out the Phoenix. As he moves out, Phoenix moves in. Just the one though, so Phoenix can't really do much. ByuN committing. And this is the weakest point here for a Phoenix-based player, is early game aggression. Where you have like, what, 1, 2, 3 Phoenixes. No, he gets caught out! Phoenix gets caught, one Phoenix goes down, massive pickoff. And ByuN, he can't keep pushing. Classic has that much less to defend. Has a shield battery, has an overcharge, is down to 2 Phoenixes. Classic is in trouble. We'll see if ByuN can break the natural. Cyclones have arrived, they get a lock on. Shield battery coming into play. So I'll save the Stalker for now. Phoenix is coming in from behind. Getting up to 3 Phoenixes. Oh, these Cyclones just add so much DPS as the overcharge. Overcharge gets popped. And ByuN, he will wait it out. Just waiting out the overcharge, building up his reinforcements. Classic is supply blocked after losing that pylon. Oof. The supply block is brutal. Classic just trying to buy time for his Immortal. The Immortal almost pops out. And ByuN is coming back in. Yeah, waits out the overcharge, going for the gateway units. Going for the shield battery. Shield battery falls. Phoenixes, they can't fully engage. The Immortal has arrived. And now with the help of the Immortal, Classic can force this back. But not before losing 3 probes. Again, Classic was under so much pressure, and ideally with a Phoenix-based opener, you want to be across the map. Classic wants to be across the map, you know, harassing mineral lines, keeping ByuN pinned back at home, delaying the 3rd base. But thanks to the map control that ByuN had, I mean, he's been free to just saturate his economy and go for the 3rd on location. Building up more Cyclones. Phoenix is diving in, but ByuN was in position, catching another Phoenix, gets 1, gets 2. This is too much. This is far too much here. 2 more Phoenixes falling. Classic does get into the mineral line. We'll finally get some counter damage. Not bad. ByuN doesn't care. ByuN doesn't care. He's just moving out. Just nothing but aggression out of ByuN. ByuN, he leaves his mineral line alone. 7 SCVs go down. That's a lot of damage. But ByuN, he wants to go for the kill. Back at home, 2 Immortals though. That's a lot of Immortals. The shield battery was replaced. There is an overcharge. ByuN, he's waiting for the Matrix. Phoenixes are racing back home. Has ByuN missed his window? Drop into the main. Mass Cyclone towards the natural. ByuN can disable an Immortal. Immortals are going to be distracted. They're dragged into the main. Uh-oh. Dragged into the main base. ByuN does have an opening. He's going for the natural. Catches the Observer. Last Classic does rotate back in time. Full medevac goes down and Classic defense. Whew, okay, we're in this. We're in this. It was initially a very strong start for ByuN. He was able to catch how many Phoenixes? 3 Phoenixes, 3 workers, supply block Classic. But the counter aggression from Classic was that much better. 7 SCV kills and ByuN's counterattack didn't really achieve anything. The medevac even went down. So Classic defends. Classic takes the 3rd base. Classic, he's able to stabilize. He's looking to stabilize here. ByuN researching Hurricane engines. He's playing mech? Sorry, I just realized. Oh my god. I mean, I understood that he built up a heavy Cyclone count, but just now it has clicked that ByuN, he's pulling a Gumiho and he's playing mech in TVP. Okay. ByuN doing his best Gumi impression. I'm ready for it. Let's go. Meanwhile, Phoenixes, they hit the main base. No turrets! Yeah, no turrets to defend. ByuN gets punished for his greed. 7 more SCVs go down. And Classic moving out with his main army. He has Immortals, he has Charge Lots. And more Charge Lots on the way. And this is where ByuN, this is where Mech is at its weakest. Cyclone's not quite in position. Charge Lots are going for the tanks. And the missile does connect. First tank goes down. The missile was brutal, but Classic, he's going for the natural. Big disables! The Immortals are disabled. And ByuN, he can hold. He can hold the line. Takes down the Phoenixes, takes down the Zealots. Immortals pull away. Instead, Classic, he rotates over towards the mineral line. Another disable here on the Prism. No juggling. And no juggling here, and it looks like Classic may have overextended. He does get 21 SCVs, though. 21 SCVs have fallen. There's still 1 Immortal behind this, putting in so much damage. The warp in is denied. Massive big off there by ByuN. ByuN will hold, but at what cost? And he falls far behind here in the worker count, down to 48 workers, but he does have mules! Oh my god. The mule hammer is crazy. Does mule up. Bearing in mind he's building up a tank count, so he's going to be able to fortify himself that much harder. And Classic, that move out was designed to kill. That was supposed to kill his opponent straight up then and there. The disables were pretty amazing for ByuN. The disables on the Immortals, the disable in the Prism. Classic behind this taking a 4th base, and the game will progress. Whew. The game will progress. ByuN just focusing on tanks, Cyclone production, tanks to defend back at home, Cyclones to be active, to harass. Liberators are on the way. Oh, Gumi would be proud. Let's go. And now we do have a bit of a lull here, where both players are backing off, they're building up. The calm before the storm. Classic working on +2. Ooh, ByuN overextending. Has to pull away. Not bad. Going to pick up a couple of Zealots, but last will cost him some Cyclones. So better trade for Classic. Liberator's moving out. They're spotted by the pylon, by the proxy. And Classic will be able to deny the expansion. I love this pylon as well because Classic can spot and confirm any expansion here on the right. Likewise, he denies the center base. And ByuN has not mined through the left-hand side either. ByuN is contained on 3 bases. He needs a 4th. He needs a 4th expansion. And Classic knows it. Oh, that's a lot of tanks. Hopefully Classic does not push into this. That would spell the end for the Protoss. Into a pre-sieged army. With tanks and Liberators. Classic bypassing the main army, going for the natural. Classic, he's tempted. The spread. Uh-oh. Prism is shut down. Classic, oh, God, calm down, Classic. He pokes in, sees the tanks, he backs off. Thankfully, did take some volleys to the face, but didn't lose anything. Catching the army on siege, though, that's going to be more ideal for the Protoss. But last ByuN is up in supply. Has a lot of tanks. The tanks take siege. Take down the Zealots. Go for the Archon. And the Archon goes down. Nice pickoff. Boys have been pulled to repair. And Classic has to race back at the same time, warping across the map into the mineral line. SCVs are going down. But what about the main fight? As ByuN is making his way across the map, slowly sieging across. He's almost there. Turned around for a moment. Pushing back in. Tanks are siege. Classic goes for the dive. He collapses on the main army. Takes down the tanks. Zealots are on top of the tanks. And it looks like Classic will clean this up. Yeah, the power of charge lots. Every tank will fall. Liberator as well. And with that ByuN, he has no army left. Again, diving on the army just before the siege. If ByuN was ready for it, it would have been a different story, but GG gets called. Classic shuts down the mech, and Classic takes game number 1. GG. GG, well played. This is also why mech is often not seen at this level of play, just because you're playing on a knife's edge. Like, it's such a careful balance there, especially with your mech army, just because, again, if you ever get caught on siege like that, if you ever get caught with your pants down, then your army will just melt. Will just melt then and there to charge lots. Or to charge the Archon Immortal. The mech army is quite fragile in that sense. And GG. GG, well played. Whew. Classic will take game number 1. Now we're jumping into game number 2. Jumping into that second game. Bearing in mind as well that ByuN was all in. Remember, his 4th base was denied. His 4th was denied over and over again. So it was a 3 base all in by ByuN. He had no more longevity in that series or in that game. Otherwise, ByuN could have just like pulled back, could have turtled up, you know, taken more bases, but alas, he had no more bases. And with that, we're getting into game number 2. Yes. Exactly. They should just stop wearing pants. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. And here we go. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran representing Shopify Rebellion, down in the series. Flexing his mech in game 1, but I doubt we'll see that too often in the rest of the series. It is ByuN. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss representing Twisted Minds, leading the series 1-0. It is a classic. We go. As ByuN, he's moving out with what looks to be a cheeky proxy. I believe ByuN moving out towards the right-hand side here, going for the racks back at home, and I imagine just a second racks across the map for a 2-racks Reaper opener. Otherwise, if he leaves the SCV here, he could go for a factory instead. Okay, second racks. Probe did scout for a moment, did check up the ramp, but doesn't go far enough. So Classic barely does miss the proxy. Now, this is not an all-in. Winding it back a little bit here. 2x Reaper here is an aggressive start, that is true, designed to get some economic damage done early on, but behind this you can transition into a CC, into an expansion. Not the most committed build here by ByuN. As a probe will dip in. And Classic just going for the gate, cyber expand, standard opener here by Classic. Oh, Marine. Hold up. Proxy Marauder. Yeah, it's going to be Marauder instead. Okay. That much more committed. I assumed it was going to be 2x Reaper, but no. It's going to be Marines back at home and Marauders proxied across the map instead. This is crazy. Now, this is a build that ByuN does like to whip, does like to kind of mix in mid-series. The Marauders are going to be building up. If Classic doesn't go for a safety shield battery here at the natural, then the game might just end. He will need a shield battery and an overcharge. Classic is scouting. He's looking for the proxy. Oh, so never mind. Setting up his own even. And he's going to get found. Great minds think alike. The proxy is found. Pylon is going to be shut down. And we're up to soon to be 2 Marauders. CC behind this. As ByuN is still building up. Getting to a 3rd Marauder. Has 1 worker here alongside this. Classic going for the proxy pylon. No shield battery at the natural. Oh, that's unfortunate. It is going to be a 3-gate opener here by Classic. Has 1 Stalker to work with. The pylon is under threat. Bunker is being thrown down, and without a shield battery, without any kind of like anchor point here, yeah, the natural is forfeit. The natural is forfeit. Pylon's going to go down. Oh, just a rough position here for Classic. Aye. And I think the base falls. I think the Nexus, it just, there's no saving it. There's 1 Stalker. Only 1 Stalker, soon to be another Warp in, but the Nexus is getting lower and lower. With the bunker finishing, I don't see how Classic can save the base. And he's not going to. He pulls the boys. He's going for the save. He wants to. The boys are being pulled. 1 Stalker goes down. A 2nd Stalker falls. There's 2 Stalkers left. Not like this. I'm gonna get this around. 2 Stalkers remaining. 3. Oh my god. Very impressive here. Classic, he will clean up the Marauders. He will save the expansion. Does cost him 5 workers, but Classic is not out of this. He's not dead. He's still in this game. Losing the natural base would have been devastating. Now he's moving out. And remember, he has a proxy. He has a proxy set up. He's reinforcing across the map. Back at home, there is a bunker. With that bunker, Classic cannot break this position, but he can contain. Stim is on the way. Gonna finish up. Classic, he's looking for the proxy. He knows that there is a rack somewhere, but doesn't know where. And unfortunately, he's checking the wrong corner of the map. He's scouting bottom left, when really it's top right. I don't blame him. If you remember, Classic, he scouted this area at the start of the game, so he just writes off top right, but that's where the base was. He comes back in. No! He wants it! ByuN, he comes back! Comes back for the natural. 1 more volley and he gets it. Aye. Not like this. The Marauder hit squad. The expansion goes down. It's Classic. He fought so hard for this base as well. He fought so hard for it. Not like this. And now he knows. Now he's checking the right-hand side, but alas, Stim is already done. Has already been researched. The Rax doesn't really have much value anymore, and it's going to lift away. Pylon will be cleaned up. Classic is supply blocked. ByuN now in a 2-base economy. Classic forced to rebuild. It's a hard position to be in. On the one hand, I would say at this point, Classic's 1 base all in. Like, at this point, it's either end the game here or die trying. But he does expand. Pokes in, forces out a stim. Oh god, but he's gonna lose the sentries and the stalkers as well. Not like this. GG gets called, and ByuN will take game number 2, tying up the series 1-1. GG. GG, well played. It was very impressive for Classic to save the expansion. I was very impressed, very shocked actually that he was able to save the base just barely by pulling the boys. Did cost him 5 workers, but I mean, hey, saving that expansion did allow Classic to stay in that game if he had kept it alive. And unfortunately, ByuN, he was that much more cheeky. Unfortunately, Classic was scouting the wrong area of the map. Remember, he was scouting bottom left, not top right. Because of that, he didn't catch the reinforcements, didn't catch the marauders, and it was ByuN's turn to catch Classic with his pants down. Oh no. The pants were down, papi. GG, well played. Natural did fall, and with that, we're tied up. We're tied up 1-1. We are going to game 3. As a reminder, this is a best of 5, so even though we're going to game 3, there's still more games ahead of us. Still more to come. What would you know about pants? Like, I know everything about them. About not having them, I should say. There you go. That's where the expertise comes in, papi. We're getting into our next game and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkion, and we have the South Korean Terran, the blue Terran player representing Shopify Rebellion. Ooh, tying things up and bringing us here to game number 3. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Twisted Minds, being forced into a tied-up series here, but we'll see if we can bring it back. It is a Classic. Here we go. Captain Hyde's like, yeah. As we mentioned before, I mean, we mentioned it at the time how against that 2 ranks opener, if Classic had made a safety shield battery, he would have been in a better position. But if you remember, Classic had actually opened up 3-gate blink. 3-gate, I should say, not blink. But he had spent his resources on a 3rd gateway in his main instead of, elsewhere. So the builds were working against Classic, which is also why, winding it back, I do want to say that I was very impressed that Classic still saved the expansion nonetheless, initially. Regardless, we're settling into game 3. Classic going for the gated Cybercoin to expand. Once again, standard opener out of our red Protoss. Meanwhile, ByuN, this time, no proxy. This time, even going for a single gas geyser. So for the first time this series, ByuN going for a Rax expand. Economic opener here by ByuN. After being hyper aggressive in game 2, calming things down in game 3. Meanwhile, Classic, he's a little bit paranoid. I don't blame him. Classic is scouting for any proxy, checks the linear 3rd, checks just a little bit south, checks top left. Yeah, I mean, after what just happened, I don't blame him. Just making sure there's no shenanigans. Not this time. ByuN likewise checking the left-hand side, and we'll find the scouting probe. A nice pickup. Because that Classic is in the dark, Classic doesn't know how economic or how safe his opponent's being. Classic is in the dark. Likewise, ByuN, because he saw the probe, he's checking for a proxy pylon. We'll confirm before dipping in. Let us go. Ooh, and the Reaper Scout is going to be denied. On top of that, ByuN going 3cc. It's going to be 3cc, 3 racks here out of ByuN. Very greedy, very economic. On the flip side, Classic is opening up Robo. Ooh, so I do want to favor ByuN in this position. Basically, ByuN is cutting corners, and he's being hyper greedy with a fast 3rd. And ByuN is going to snowball out of control in the mid game. Once this 3rd base gets up and running, he's going to just skyrocket ahead in terms of supply. Until then, ByuN is going to be vulnerable. How do you abuse this? You can with 4-gate blink, right? With a hyper aggression or blink stalkers, you can abuse this, you can shut this down. Likewise, Phoenix base openers can try to pick away at the economy. A Robo opener is typically a little bit more defensive. Because of that, Classic will have access to faster immortal production. You can see safety shield battery. Yeah, I mean, there's a safety immortal as well. So Classic, after what happened in the last game, Classic, he's been scarred a little bit. He's playing very safely, which means ByuN should get away with this. Should. We'll see. There is potential if Classic goes for a War Prism. If he goes for a Prism next, before the Bay, he could go for like Adept Harass across the map. He can go for some Warpins. He can still be in the face of his opponent. And interesting. Okay, this is going to be a Twilight Council, not a Robotics Bay. Hallucination is diving in. Classic will get eyes on the production, gets eyes on all the Raxes, and should get eyes on the third CC as well. Yeah, so Classic with the full scout. Unfortunately, it's a little bit too late. Like, Classic, he throws down his own third as a response, but Classic is already invested into the Robo, into the Immortal. Like, Classic, he's playing very safely here for a move out that isn't really coming. And Classic, he does deviate back into a Bay. Interesting. So originally, Classic, it looked like he wanted to go into a Twilight Council into Blink. Upon seeing the greed of his opponent, he delays Blink and goes for a faster Bay instead to get into Colossus. Blink is still on the way, but again, did throw down the Bay first. Or before that. So he's going to be building up his Colossus, getting to his third base. We'll see if Classic can delay the third of ByuN and delay it landing. Otherwise, I still do prefer ByuN's position. Now, it is going to be very bio heavy. Again, remember, Classic, he sold the 3CC3 racks. That's why Colossus is going to be so important here in the defense for that splash damage. But ByuN is going to have a lot of Marauders. As he's establishing his third, and again, there's not much here to really stop that. I mean, there's no way for a Classic to stop it. So setting up all the Raxes, upgrades underway, Adepts are shit into the natural. They get some damage done, but ByuN was ready for it. Just shocking around, looking for any stray units, looking for the Observer, any scouting probes. Classic, I believe, did miss this move out. Classic, his army is here at the third base, which means ByuN, he can slip into the natural. Oh, he can slip in. He has Stim, does Stim forward, going for the Pylon. Pylon goes down, and Robo's depowered, going for the Mineral Line as well. Classic out of position. And that's going to be 9, that's going to be 10 probe kills. Well worth it, only for Marines. Even getting a Sentry. Sentry goes down, a good trade for ByuN, loses 1 Marauder. As third base is getting fully saturated. ByuN does deal a big blow to the economy here of Classic, delays the production, delays the Prism, the Robo. Double drop on the way. Drop play continues. 4 CC in production as well for ByuN. Ay. Rushing into a 4th. This time Classic is ready for it. Did have the Observer across the map. Stalker's in position. Oh, going for the Blink. It does get the medevac, but it's going to cost him some Stalkers. Yeah, ByuN did unload in time. Trading against the army. Forced to pick up. Forced to get out of here. Oh, oof. ByuN. Very nice plays. I don't know if you noticed that, but ByuN, he unloaded a Marine to pick up the Marauder. Just to be a little bit more efficient. It feels bad for the Marine. He was initially saved, and ByuN just kicked him out of the medevac. That's a little bit brutal, but I mean, that was the play to go for. The efficiency out of ByuN. Double jump on the right, going for the 4th. Classic in the center of the map. Classic is going to be pushing through the center, but alas, there's a bunker, there's a tank. Expansion is going to fall. Classic is going for it. Going for the 3rd. But there are Marauders. There are plenty of Marauders back at home again, making 3 Marauders at a time. Classic goes to the Blink, takes down the tank. Will deny the 3rd. Not bad. Oh, at the same time, though, ByuN, he takes down the 4th and going for the 3rd base as well. Boys are being pulled. And ByuN is going for the Colossus. Can he get them? The Prism goes down. The Colossus as well. ByuN will shut down the main army for the cost of 27 SCVs, though. It's going to cost him a lot of workers. Meanwhile, across the map, ooh, he does kill the 3rd. GG gets called. ByuN deals critical damage across the map, getting 2 expansions. And ByuN takes a 2-1 lead. Whew. GG. GG, well played. ByuN being so active with his drop play, even before medevacs came into play as well, with the Marine Marauder counterattack, with the run by into the natural, the drop play as well, just getting so much value. And of course, towards the end, Classic was forced into the all-in. He was out of position, The drop was across the map, killing the fourth, killing the third. Classic had to move in and unfortunately just did not have enough. GG. GG, well played. ByuN, it felt like he was in full control of that game. Like from the beginning, from the third CC, and from Classic going for a safe opener, like ByuN was quite comfortable. Very comfortable. And with that, ByuN is now one game away from taking the entire series. I'm hoping for an ace match, I'm hoping for a back and forth, and I'm hoping that we can go all the way to game 5. But the pressure is now on Classic. The pressure is on. ByuN said, "This is Sparta, get out." That's basically what happened. Feels marine, man. Here we go. And we'll see if we can make it to the ace matches. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Amphion, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Blue Terran representing Shopify Rebellion, one game away from becoming this week's KSL champion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss representing Twisted Minds. Down in the series, the pressure's on the SFI back here and now to force the ace match. It is Classic. These poor SC2 units die for our entertainment. They just want to mine, papi. True, Becoeta, true. Feels bad, man. The poor workers. Classic zooming across the map. Again, we're loading into Amphion, one of the more unusual maps in the map pool. Now, we have seen ByuN embracing Kira's builds quite often. We saw it last week in the Wardy TV Monday Cup against MaxPax, if you recall. Oh, as he takes a lot of damage. What I'm referring to is that last time we saw ByuN in this map, he went for a ninja base. Kira is known for going for the ninja here on the top right-hand corner of the map. ByuN did one better, and he went for the center hybrid base instead. Crazy move out of ByuN. Basically, it was, oh, as he does kill the probe. Basically, it was the same build as we saw previously, 3cc 311 with a ninja base. This time, though, there is no SCV out on the map, so it should be a much more standard build out of ByuN. We should be calming things down. Classic going gate cyber expand. Walling off that Reaper cliff, as it is a 1 hex wall. And back at home, what is ByuN gonna go for? For now, just economic opener and rack expand initially. Oh, are we going for the ninja? Are we going for the ninja once again? I think he is. We'll see. We'll see. Again, last time we saw ByuN here, he did go for the hybrid base as his third. Just like last game, 3cc 111, and it looks to be the case here. ByuN is in position. Let's go. Again, ByuN has been spending too much time with Cure, papi. Ay. Show us the CC. Let's go. He's got it. There it is. Ninja base has been thrown down. Oh boy. Now, the reason why this is done on this map, this is typically, I wouldn't say standard, but this is seen more often on Amphion because you very often do not scout in this area. Whether it's top right, like Cure usually goes for this base, but ByuN is being a little bit greedier. But you just don't really check these areas. You don't really check these locations from the side of Protoss. Why would you? Just because so much of the game is centralized towards the left-hand side of the map instead. So very cheeky move here by ByuN. When he did this against MaxPax eventually found this, winding it back a little bit. A reason why MaxPax was able to shut this down when they faced off last time is because MaxPax opened up 4-gate blink. 4-gate blink is designed to be aggressive, and MaxPax, he was able to be in the face of ByuN, able to confirm that the main base was empty, and able to deviate his attention elsewhere and find the ninja. Unfortunately for Classic, he's opening up Stargate, not Blink. So Phoenixes, they can kill workers, but they can't really do much about buildings. And we'll see when and if Classic finds this. Oh boy. As again, 3CC 111. So the end goal for ByuN is the same as the previous game, where he's going for a very Marine, very Marauder heavy composition. But this is going to hit harder, not just because of the ninja, but because it is a hybrid gold base as well, or hybrid base. So there are gold mineral patches that ByuN can prioritize. As Classic shades into the natural. ByuN in position, will punish this, takes down one of the adepts, takes down two, will take down all three. Now Classic is aware of the 111, sorry, of the 3 racks, I should emphasize. But upon seeing how late that 3rd rack is, this is a tell. Like Classic, at this point, the 3rd rack should have already been done. The fact that it isn't means that there's something weird. There's something weird going on. Classic is mining through the minerals towards the left-hand side. We do see ByuN already moving out, trying to catch out the Phoenixes. The army is spotted. Up. Get some hull damage on the Stalker. ByuN doesn't quite commit. Pulling away. ByuN again just keeping the attention of Classic here in the center of the map. Pull back. Classic backs off, and Classic does not scout the right-hand side. But again, seeing how late that Rax was, I mean, I would hope that it's in the back of his mind. Third base being taken. Bay now on the way. Gonna be for Colossus. I mean, the alternative would be that maybe there was like a 3rd Rax hidden elsewhere. Like behind the mineral line. Gets in the main. Gets 3 SCVs. Not bad. 4 SCV kills. Gets a little economic damage, delays the starport as well. Very nice damage here by Classic. Meanwhile, the ninja base is paying for itself at this point. More than paying for itself. Classic, when he dipped in as well, he also still scattered no CC. And now he's checking. There we go. Yeah, he's rotating everything over towards the right-hand side. Classic, he now realizes something is wrong. Something has been wrong this entire game, and he will find the expansion. So Classic will shut down the ninja. Oh, these are fresh mules as well. Very nice force fields. Yeah, ByuN is going to be cleaned up, but is it too late? Because here comes ByuN. He has Mass Marine Marauder. Stim is done. Combat Shield's finishing up as well. Sorry, Concussive Shell finishing up as well. The army is spotted. ByuN saves the expansion, saves SCVs. He's going back to mining, and Classic recalls back home. Now, Amphion is very defendable. This ramp, it can be brutal to push up. There's a shield battery, there's Nova Charge, there's a Colossus, and force fields as well. So I don't think ByuN can break this. But he regains map control, which means ByuN saves the expansion, gets it back up. Phoenix is moving out. There are some turrets back at home, but that gas geyser can be abused once again. ByuN's army is spotted. Phoenix is dip in. They get 2 SCVs. Oh! And almost a medevac. Gasito. ByuN rotating over towards the 3rd. This position is going to be a lot more easy to push into. I mean, it's very wide open. No shield battery, which is a little bit concerning. No shield battery ready at the 3rd. But the rocks are still up and running. Well, they're still up. Again, still a very tense situation. ByuN going for a split push. Reinforcements getting caught off. ByuN will at least force a cancel. Oh, we'll try to. Never mind. Gets the pylon. Phoenix is coming in, and the job is going to be punished. Nice clean up here at the same time. Oh, ByuN tries to push in, but Classic is ready for it. Has the overcharge, has the Colossus, and the force fields. Classic defense, he saves the 4th and the natural. And ByuN is throwing away a little bit too much. Marines are falling. ByuN, he wants that Colossus, stims in. Up, he wants it. Doesn't quite get it, just barely nods. One more volley would have been enough. Classic holds. Once again, the force fields. does delay the move out, and now Classic is successfully defending and getting into his 4th base. Classic has been stuck at home this entire time and has been able to hold. Behind this, ByuN getting a 4th on location. His ninja base is fully operational. But eventually, after all the defending, Classic can break out. He can finally break free. Zelts into the main, they distract. Classic peels off some Zelts here towards the right-hand side. SCVs are going down. And the SCVs down, they run into the Colossus. And Classic, he's ready for it. It's 11 worker kills and more. And ByuN is getting pulled apart. The game was not meant to last this long. ByuN was meant to end it earlier with that move out. And now ByuN's getting pulled apart. Zelts in the middle line. GG gets called, and Classic, he does bring us back. Ties up the series 2-2. We are going to the ace match. Whew. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Classic. Eventually, he was able to piece together that something was wrong, that there should have been a 3rd TC, and eventually he found it. He shut it down. Likewise, not just shutting down the 3rd base, but also being able to successfully defend and deflect any kind of move out, any kind of aggression at his natural, at his 3rd, at his 4th. Very nice play out of Classic. Able to split up his army, able to keep up with the movements of ByuN, able to shut him down and snowball out of control. GG. GG, well played. We are going to the ace match. Oh boy. We're getting into Site Delta. How will this story end? I mean, this could still go either way. When it comes to this ninja base build that ByuN went for, again, it is typically reserved for maps like Amphion. I would be shocked to see it here on Site Delta. Like, this is not the map to do it on, so it is a more map-specific kind of build. Here we go. Here we go, we're getting into the ace match, and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Site Delta, we have the South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Blue Protoss representing Twisted Minds, bringing us all the way to the ace match. Can he bring it home? It is Classic. Go. Oh boy, and again, this could still go either way. It's been an amazing finals already, bringing us all the way to the ace match, and we've seen a lot of variety out of ByuN, especially. We've seen 3 CC, 3 racks, we've seen ninja bases, we've seen mech. It all started with mech on I almost said Hardwire. Jesus, that's a blast from the past. On Crimson Court, another red map. But it all started with mech on Crimson Court, if you remember. It's just a wild series. But really, it's been ByuN kind of dictating the pace of the game, being the aggressor. Whether he succeeds or fails, it varies. So we'll see what ByuN has in store for us this time. What do you have for us, Pat? What do you have? Once again, Classic has been going for the Gate Cyber Expand every game so far. That's just standard opener. Meanwhile, ByuN does not go for the second Gas Geyser, he's going for an economic opener himself. Racks into CC. So nothing crazy here in the early game. Again, when it comes to the ninja base, we've seen it on Amphion, we've seen it on Golden Aura as well, but not on Site Delta. No shot, Pat. No shot. Classic scouting for the proxy, making sure there's no hidden racks here at the linear 3rd. So Classic just being very safe. I don't blame him. ByuN is an animal and is one to proxy at any point in the series. Not the case here in the ace match. Moving out with his Reaper. Just the initial Reaper. Getting a safety racks behind this to defend his natural. And ByuN is going 3cc. So 3cc, 3 racks here out of ByuN. This is the third time we're seeing this build this series, this best of 5. We saw this last game on Amphion. To be fair, I mean, this was a ninja variation on Amphion, true. A hidden base variation. But it's going to be a more standard 3cc this time from ByuN. And we'll see if he can get away with it. If you recall, he also did this on Alkyone. If you do recall. Meanwhile, this time Classic opening up with a Twilight Council and Blink. And the question becomes, how many gateways? Again, this is very greedy by ByuN. He's cutting a lot of corners, rushing into this third CC. And if Classic does go up to 4 gates, then Classic can punish this. He can punish this here, as again, because of the build of choice, ByuN won't have any tanks anytime soon. No tanks whatsoever. He's building up Marines, working towards Stim, working towards +1. Hallucination will confirm, gets eyes on all the CCs, on everything in the main.
Research complete.
Classic is aware. But just going for a third. So it's going to be 2-gate Blink into a third base for Classic. Is likewise going for an economic opener himself. But right now the pressure is on Classic to delay the third. To delay the landing of the third base for as long as possible. To not make it as easy for ByuN to really run away with the economy. Like he did previously. This Classic is moving out with those Stalkers. Again, just applying some pressure. Behind this, it's going to be 2-gate Blink into a third, into a Bay, into Colossus production. So, pretty standard play here at a Classic. It's very meta. Like when you think of standard TVP builds or PvT builds, like this is what you go for here for Classic. Going for additional gateways, being active with those Stalkers. And ByuN is still just building up. Building up all those Marines, getting to Stim, into +1. It's going to be on ByuN to eventually break out. To land his third. And to even move out across the map. We'll see if he can. Classic setting up first. Colossus is on the way. Should be out in time for the first move out. So Classic should be safe. But again, it's all about trying to delay the economy of ByuN if at all possible. Observer confirms the setup. Gets eyes on the starports, on the bio army. Confirms +1. Classic is going to try to dive into the main. Bold move. Oh, the observers get spotted. And that does force out a Stim from ByuN. So some nice inadvertent damage. Just baiting out a Stim. ByuN going for his drop. Observer does rotate, and does Classic get eyes on the drop? Not quite. Observer not in position. There are some spotter pylons being thrown down for Classic. And they might be able to get eyes on this. It's going to be close. Spin is making his way towards the main. Classic does have Stalkers in position. His probe as well. And Classic will scout this. Whew. It barely does get eyes on the drop. Classic reinforcing, goes for extra warp-ins. Meanwhile, as Classic is stuck at home, ByuN expands. ByuN takes the third. The Mule Hammer is real. Workers are main outed over. Colossus is spotted. Souls a double drop. Pushing towards the main. Doesn't quite find a way in. Classic going for the dive. Gets the Metamax. Gets 1, gets 2. 2 Metamax go down, and Classic can clean this up. But last ByuN going for a counterattack at the same time. Or setting up for 1. Classic does pull away. They're getting in position. Classic is more concerned about getting ready for the counterattack than he is chasing down these Marines. Which is a good call. Classic taking a 4th base. Did keep up with the rotation. ByuN pulls back home. Building up a more Marauder heavy composition. We'll see if Classic can break this. With 2 tanks and with this many Marauders, I don't think so. Classic backs off. War Prism is setting up. There's a massive war of Zealots. The natural is exposed. The bunker is empty. 4th base is spotted. ByuN moving out. He scans. He does spot the army. And again, ByuN is distracted. And as he's distracted, drop into the natural. Boys are being pulled. SCVs are going down. And the Prism gets into the main. And War Prism into the main base. 11 SCVs do fall. Classic does recall out. And he makes it back home. Whew. Does race back home. Does save his 4th. Or does at least secure his 4th. Not bad. Not bad so far, but the main armies have yet to clash. And that's a lot of Marauders. That's 18 Marauders, 30 Marines. That's a lot of fire. Ghost Academy on the way. Prism coming back in. But there are Vikings and a turret as well. And a nice shutdown by ByuN. Takes down the Prism. Zell should be cleaned up. Never going up. Up! Ooh, big connection. Takes down a good chunk of Marauders. Not bad. That was 6 Marauders falling. Oh my god. I thought it was like 4. 6 Marauders go down. Classic backs off. Building on more Disruptors. And we have a back and forth. Whew, getting into the mid game. Settling in. ByuN trying to be active. Classic keeping up. 4 CC on the way. Now, ByuN can't really contest against this army yet, but that will change once Ghosts arrive. And the Ghosts, he's making them 3 at a time. Once EMP is in the mix, then ByuN can actually engage and try to dive, try to focus down the Colossus, even trade with the Zealots. Until then, though, I do want to favor Classic. He does spot the drop, gets a Medivacs, gets 1, gets 2. 2 Medivacs go down. That's going to be a one-way trip. At the same time, War Prism across the map as well. Oof, I say that Prism is sniped. As he does overextend, but he does catch another full Medivac. Out of 4 Medivacs, only 1 survives. That was a big loss for ByuN. Classic is maxed. ByuN plummets an army supply. ByuN is going to be vulnerable as he expands and takes the 4th base. He's going to be spread thin. And this is the moment for Classic. This is his moment, but he's waiting for the War Prism, waiting for it to rebuild, so we can reinforce. The Viking count is building up. 4 Vikings, plus 1 air attack about to finish up. The army is spotted. Classic overextending for a moment. 2 Novas go off, no big connections. There's 4 Novas left, or far more than that actually. 9 Disruptors in total. That's a lot of Disruptors. 5th base getting up and running. Zealot run back here towards the natural. ByuN is in position. Yeah, Zealots don't do much. Novas are going up. And they zone the army away. EMPs did connect with the Colossus. Vikings. They want them. They want the Colossi. That's still so many Disruptors. Classic trying to zone ByuN away. Nova's going up. Up! Big connections. Oh yeah, massive connections here on ByuN's army. Yeah, the Disruptors are popping off. Again, forcing ByuN to push into those Disruptors. Classic reinforces, moving in once again. Nova's just going to be zoning. Colossus are going down. And Classic has to be careful to overextend. Yeah, running out of his buffer. He pulls away. War Prism has arrived. Again, Classic lost every single Colossus down to how many? 8 Disruptors. He's pushing in a little bit too soon. And the Novas are a little bit lackluster. We get 1 ghost kill. But nice spread here. Nice split out of ByuN. He's going to shut down the Stalkers. Classic does overextend. But here come reinforcements. The Zealots. Zealots, they buy time. The Stalkers are saved. And Classic is making his way into the natural, into the mineral line. Oh, the Novas. Novas are going up. They barely connect. And they do connect, and Classic, he has done it. He's broken into the natural base. Came with the production. Vikings are dropping. We have a couple of units trickling in. Classic, has he done it? He needs reinforcements. He needs another warp in. He's forced to recall back home. Did the prism go down? I guess it did. I missed that. But the war prism, if the war prism didn't go down, then Classic could have reinforced and he could have ended the game. Then and there, that could have been game. But ByuN holds. Classic is forced back, and ByuN is still recovering. Again, he lost so many Marauders, so many Ghosts. Again, ByuN was caught out of position earlier, and he was forced to push into Disruptors, into Purification Novas. And that's a lot of Disruptors. That's a lot of balls, Pappy. It's a lot of balls. Classic reinforcing with Immortals. There is still no War Prism for Classic. But he does find a tank. Tank goes down, Nova's going up. Oof. Yeah, it does connect with those Marauders. Marauders are falling. Tanks get caught out as well. And Zelsei busts into the mineral line. ByuN will hold, but he's bleeding out so much. Too much. Intending to expand and take a fifth. ByuN holding. This is what I'm concerned about now, going back to Colossus. I mean, ByuN, his Viking count was reset. Now, no Vikings left over. Colossus are viable once again for Classic. ByuN, despite these trades, the Novas are going off. So many Novas, oh my god! The balls go off. Massive connections. Classic was a little bit trigger happy there. So, no Novas left on cooldown. Off cooldown. So Classic has to pull away. Classic taking every expansion on the map. At this point, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Stargates. Like, throw down like 3 Stargates, a Fleet Beacon, and get ready for like a Skytos transition just to secure himself. I'll ask Classic to just focus and hyperfixate on a ground-based army instead. And now ByuN is getting into Liberators. Liberator production has begun. Classic still having a harder time pushing in. ByuN, can he stabilize? It's getting another expansion. Nova's going off, they zone away, no big connections. And ByuN is about to max out himself. Does establish a 5th base. Like Classic, he was so close to ending the game earlier, and he still has a lead, don't get me wrong, but now that Liberation has arrived, I'm not so sure. Like, a higher lib count usually does force Skytos. And Classic hasn't gone for it yet. Blinking in, gets 1 lib, gets 2. Not bad. 2 Liberators. Ooh. Does connect with the Marauders. But ByuN is stimming in. Doesn't quite have enough, though. Just trading with the main army. That was 6 Marauders, a Ghost, and 2 libs falling for the handful of gateway units. At the same time, Classic going for a split push. Gets a lib. Going for the planetary as well. ByuN does keep up. Barely. More reinforcements on the way. Classic actually taking every expansion. There's like 1 expansion left untouched, or 2 expansions left. The center bases. And the Novas are going off, and the planetary should fall. It takes a lot of damage. ByuN is holding. Still no Stargates, which again is still a little bit concerning to me. ByuN is maxed. For the sim. Decent EMP on the Colossus. Vikings coming in for a flank. Novas as well. Decent connections, but Colossus are falling. Just the 1. It's a little scrappy trade there for Classic and ByuN. More Zealots reinforcing. With these Zealots, it looks like Classic should have enough to break through the front line. Yeah, there's just not enough reinforcements. Classic, he does camp the production, takes down the Zealots, takes down the Marines, the Marauders. The main army does rotate over. Going for the Disruptors. Oh my god, but we take the Novus to the face. GG gets called. And Classic, he brute forces his way through. GG, and Classic will be this week's KSL champion. Whew. GG. Not gonna lie, when I saw the lib count getting a little bit higher, I was getting concerned. I was getting concerned for Classic, but eventually he did overwhelm. Eventually he did break through. GG, well played. ByuN, unfortunately, his main army was not quite in position. It looks like ByuN was anticipating a rotation towards the north, so that's why he had most of his bio and most of his ghosts towards the north instead, not as his third base. And alas, ByuN was caught out. GG, well played. Classic will be our champion this week. Again, I feel like Classic lately has been getting overshadowed. There's been a lot of hype around Hero and a lot of hype around Trap. Classic has been a little bit less active over the past like 2 weeks, like post EWC, but good to see Classic returning, and returning quite hard here, as he is going to be our champion this week. GG, well played. Not an easy finals. ByuN was very chaotic. He was all over the place. He was whipping out the mech. He was whipping out the ninja bases. Going for his, you know, much more tried and true 3CC3 racks, which he's quite fond of. But even here, Classic was able to overwhelm, gain map control, and shut ByuN down. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Classic. Well played. Well played. Oh, and with that, we are going to be wrapping up with the KSL, but if you're out there, if you want to help support this tournament, first things first, a shout out to all the patrons, the Patreons, for the Korean StarCraft League. There is a Patreon for this event. If you want to help support it, !KSL in the chat, and you'll get a link to the Patreon for this tournament. Again, you can help be a part of boosting the prize pool and sustaining this tournament. Unfortunately, support for the event has waned over the past couple of months. This used to be a weekly, now it is a bi-weekly. Now it's every 2 weeks instead of every week. But the event will, of course, continue. Despite that, we'll progress and we'll keep it going. Don't you worry. But again, if you want to help support this tournament, if you want to help support the Korean scene, you can do so via Patreon. You can do so. Oh. Otherwise, GG, well played. Hope you all enjoyed yourselves. Hope you all had a great time here tonight. If you are unsatiated, if you want some more StarCraft, then we got you covered in a couple of hours. The MSO, the next cast here on the channel, is going to be the Master Swan Open. That is going to be in 3 hours time. Technically 2 hours and around like 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours time on the channel is going to be Master Swan Open. If you're curious, what is the MSO? What is the Master Swan Open? It's a tournament that we've been running since 2018, I think, around 2018. We've been running it for a very long time. It is a tournament for amateur players, not for the pros. It is designed for masters, or between the leagues and the ranks of bronze to around masters 2. There is a 4.7k MMR cap to the MSO. So if you're in the chat, if you want to play, if you want to compete, if you have not exceeded the MMR cap, the MMR limit of 4.7k in the last year, in the last 3 seasons, then you can take part. You can play, you can take part. Again, it is just a way to foster the community, to, you know, bring everyone together as well. Just a fun way to help incentivize competition and play and improvement amongst lower tier players. For those that are unaware, because we've been hosting this event for so many years, there are some players out there that you might remember that that have played in our tournaments and are now pros. You know, we casted Mixu back when he was, you know, Diamond/Masters. We casted Baby Marine back in the day as well, as he, or we didn't quite cast him, but he would sign up, but he wasn't able to play because it's not a good time for Europe. It wasn't the best time for European players back then. But many others as well, like Oreo and Starduck, Ruichi as well. It's not like every player that plays eventually becomes GM, but there are a couple of like players from many years ago, from back in 2017, 2018, that we were able to kind of bear witness to and, you know, provide for them an outlet to compete and to improve and to, you know, give them some motivation to get better and stronger. And, you know, that's the benefit of these kind of MMR locked events. That's the idea, that's the hope anyway, that players, they get that taste of competition and they strive for it, they want it, and they improve, they get better, and who knows, they might be a pro one day. Could happen, could happen. Could happen. So yeah, with that, our next event is going to be in 2.5 hours. If you're interested, you can check it out then. I won't be casting. I'm going to be adminning. It does take a little bit more work to admin those events, just because I have to check all the players and make sure there's no like smurfs or people that just want to play that shouldn't be playing, stuff like that. So yeah, it does take a little bit more work and effort to vet all the players ahead of time. But regardless, if you want to tune in, MSO is going to be in a couple of hours. If you want to support the CranKy Ducklings and the tournaments that we host, !Patreon in the chat will give you a link to our Patreon page, to our channel if you want to support us. Otherwise, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting, for tuning in. And a big shout out to Pig, El Chanchito, papi. Pig did raid us earlier, a massive raid from Pig, so thank you so much. If you're curious, we do cast this event on a bi-weekly basis. Every 2 weeks we're live with the KSL, and we are usually live on a daily basis here on the CranKy Ducklings. I say usually because it's the off season, we actually have less casts than normal, so we're live like, I don't know, between 5 and 6 days of the week instead of every day of the week, so we have some more free days here and there as a result. But regardless, content is available quite frequently here nonetheless. With MSO tonight, STC tomorrow, we have TTT, the Wardy TV Monday, we have Versasaurus Cup, we have Code for Giants Cup, and the podcast as well. Plenty of content throughout the week. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Stick around. We're going to be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. Usually I try to like ladder afterwards and have like a cheeky ladder session, which can be quite fun. But I'm hungry. I would like some breakfast. I would like some food. So I'm gonna head off and get something to eat. Otherwise, stick around. We're going to be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. We'll find someone to send everyone over to. Who's streaming right now? Who is streaming? There's Practice X. There's Florencio, papi. Let's go. Florencio. Who else? Those are the two that come to mind. Here we go. So yeah, regardless, if you want to support the community, support the scene, stick around. We're going to be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Eat, pipe. Yeah. I gotta get some food. Do you need to pay the patron to play in the tournament? No, you do not. It's just a way to help fund and help support the tournaments. The events are open to all. !MSO. MSO in the chat should give you a link to the most recent Master Sword Open challenge page. Yeah, we got you covered. So !MSO in the chat if you want to compete. I'm a 4K hearts like heathen. You could play too, Pat. You could play too if you want. You can jump in. No. But with that, thanks so much for watching, everyone. Thanks so much for the support. We'll see you guys next time. Until then, hasta luego. I'm gonna go get some food. I'm gonna go get some rest, and we'll be back with Master Swan Open. Until then, thank you for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Hasta luego, papi. Ciao, papi. Ciao. Hasta luego. Take care. Have a good weekend. Take care, everyone.